I'm Mike.
And I'm Mike.
And this is
Faceful of Thursdays.
What up, y'all? Hope everybody's week is going good. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Good Christmas, yeah? You had a good Christmas?
Good Christmas, yeah.
Kind of quiet. Well, as you know, it's movie review day. We just went and saw Father Figures with Owen Wilson and Ed Helms is the guy's name.
Ed Helms.
I remember him best from The Office, which was funny in The Office. I have to tell you guys, I am severely disappointed in this movie.
It sucked.
It was like...
You could describe it with 2 words. It sucked.
And here's why. We'll break it down. They put a bunch of shit that by themselves are okay, kind of funny, like you'd laugh at it once, and then they smush it all together in about a 2-hour movie. Is basically what they did. It was bad. It was bad. I don't even have words to describe it.
It was an incredibly...
It was boring.
Sad. It was boring, and it was incredibly sad.
It was boring, and it was sad. It was really sad. The whole story, like they're building up to this whole thing,
as you know with their movies, spoilers.
So they're on a search to find out who their real dad is because their mom tells them, I didn't really know your real dad, and it leads up, and they're finding all these like semi-funny kind of characters. Terry Bradshaw's in it, Ving Rhames, all those guys who by themselves are funny, but they kind of like try to stack them, like J.K. Simmons, and I think he's funny, but it like the character itself was funny. But the way they had mixed everything was not good. It didn't really mesh well chemistry-wise. So they did all this, and then by the end of the movie, you're like, "Holy shit, who's gonna be their dad?" And it turns out no one knows their dad still. And the mom that they thought was their mom actually isn't. She adopted them because she watched as their actual birth mother died during birth.
So to simplify what he said, because it was a massive rambling.
Well, because I'm mad.
Yes. To give you the premise, it does this massive build-up. You're like, oh man, you're about to find out who the actual father is.
I literally just said what you just said. How is that rambling?
And they find out that their alleged father lives a few houses down. That he's been nearby the entire time, and that their mom has always genuinely loved this man. So they go to the veterinary's office. Happens to be Christopher Walken. I love Christopher
Walken's great. Like I said, these characters are all really good by themselves.
And then he freaks out when he sees them, and they call him Dad, and he freaks out and gets on the phone trying to call her. Well, the mom shows up at the clinic as they're trying to grill.
This is Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, trying to see if he's the real dad.
Trying to be the real dad. And then she's like, well, hey, guys, sit down. And they have a sit down, and they find out, the mom worked at a facility that helped women to get off the streets and get away from drugs and get away from bad things. Well, she was very far along.
Well, she's only 6 months along.
She was 6 months along in her pregnancy, and apparently went into early labor, and had twin boys, who were the characters that in Owen Wilson and Ed Helms in this movie.
Yeah, and
it's just sad. Like, it is so incredibly sad, because then they find out they don't even know who their mom is, who her real last name is, or her first name. That she died as a teenager,
and then they don't know their dad,
and they have no idea who their dad is.
So the whole movie really didn't have a resolve to it.
Yeah, and then she was just a social worker that fell in love with these 2 children and adopted them. But she herself was like a pseudo floozy. She slept.
Yeah, I mean they insinuated that she was sort of like a floozy.
Slept around with in the movie. I mean, they don't insinuate. They literally say. Hey,
oh yeah, no, they straight up say, and it's kind of like a funny joke to like the.
It's like a funny joke, like, oh, it's the '70s. Everyone just got high and had sex. Like, that is literally, they just kind of like shoved that into the movie, and then every person that was a father figure that she knew along the way. It was just like a funny thing. Oh, we just did drugs and had sex. So it's just like this huge thing of these 2 guys that...
Well, it wasn't always doing drugs, but it was mainly about, like, this woman being a floozy And the whole time they think that their mom is basically a floozy and sleeping with all these guys, so they keep traveling from one guy to the next, trying to find which one their dad is. And at the end, no one's really their dad because they still don't know who it is, and because they found out on top of the fact that they don't know who their dad is, which by the way is what they're trying to find throughout the whole entire span of the movie. They don't find out who their dad is, and also find out on top of that their real mom actually died.
And they don't even know who that is.
And they don't even know who that is. I'm like, this is... So not only was it a shitty movie that was semi-hilarious, or I don't even want to say hilarious, that was semi-okay with like
scenes.
2 funny parts.
You had one part where you thought where Owen Wilson sitting in a car on the railroad tracks and gets hit by a train. You're like, oh my god,
like,
this
that was
is
awesome. And then you have another part where Ed Helms' character thinks he slept with his sister.
So he ends up having a one-night stand with a girl at a bar, and ends up being the best night of his life kind of thing, and it kind of brings the spark back into his life because the entire movie...
He's depressed because he's like a divorce and his kid hates him.
And his kid hates him, so he's just a depressed, hateful person through the entire movie until... you'd say probably the last 30 minutes of the movie, if that.
Yeah, and then he's like,
he sleeps with her, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm got
bubbly
my
now."
jive back.
Yeah, and then they go to this guy who they think is their father. Turns out he is dead. But so they're at this funeral, and it turns out that the dead guys who they think is their father, their daughter is the guy that Ed Helms slept with the night previous. So then you have this whole thing of
so they go to a wake. It's the girl at the bar. It's
one night
her
stand.
father.
Yeah,
one night stand.
Who they also think is their father.
Yeah.
So they come to the senses that this girl that he just slept with is his sister. So then they have this big old thing of, oh god, it's my sister, and that was funny because she's in the yard.
Well, he tries to leave the house.
Oh yeah, he tries to leave the house.
He ends up knocking into a chick, which dumps a cup, and she's like, "What the fuck?"
And then it starts like this whole big fight over a spilled
so all these
cup.
Irish guys start coming out in there. They're like, "We just want an apology."
No, they weren't even Irish. They were like New York.
Something.
They were in New York.
It
was so
bad. There's like, all right, I'm sorry to the douchebag's girlfriend, and he's like, apology's not accepted. It's too late.
Apology's not accepted.
He's like, man, you can't
move the goalposts.
You can't move the goalposts. It's like, it's been moved.
It's been moved.
And he's like, hold on. So Owen Wilson's like, do you want to do the honors? He's like, I don't think this is the correct place. He's like, Patty, who is the wake, the person who
the guy who died
at that house,
and they're like, is our father,
and she might be our sister,
and at that point,
he might be our brothers, and then like
everyone loses their shit, and then you just look up, they pan to her, and she's like in the yard, she's like, she's dry heaving, and
she's dry, so she's like walking these like semi high heel boots through the dirt. She's like,
which was the funniest part. I think the funniest part of that whole movie.
Pretty much.
And that was
Owen Wilson getting hit by a train and her dry heaving
because she thinks she just slept with her brother, who she didn't know.
Other than that,
it was just terrible.
Everything else is watching a highly depressed. So you're basically watching the brother, Owen Wilson, is a massive idiot in the movie.
Who has tons of money, but turns out he doesn't have money.
Has tons of money, and then loses it all towards the end of the movie, so it becomes like this weird full circle thing. And then he's a proctologist that absolutely hates his life, everything about his life.
He had a divorce, and his kid doesn't like it. Like they show a scene at the beginning where his kid's calling him an asshole.
You're watching a depressed maniac.
You're watching a depressed dude go on a trip with his idiot brother. Is literally the whole thing. And at the end, nothing is resolved, and then the idiot brother, Owen Wilson's character, ends up having it's too dark.
Figure out something.
He ends up having a fucking twins of his own, and then they're like talking to the babies as if they're adults, and they're like, "Oh, if your brother wants to go on a trip, blah 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 blah." And
it was just a bad, like, the movie was.
The ending was bad. The middle was bad. The beginning was bad.
It started off with him being like sad and hating his life and putting his hand into someone's asshole. Like, I mean,
at the beginning you're kind of like, "Oh, this could go a different way."
Direction.
And
it didn't, guys.
It didn't.
It's just, it's that bad of a movie.
Yeah,
It's that bad of a movie. We're not gonna make this video long. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna caption this movie.
Father figures. Don't go see.
Do not see.
Because it was.
worst movie. It's just bad.
I mean, and
But
it can.
if you guys go do see it, throw it down in the comments. Tell us what you think. We actually started finally getting comments on our videos, which is super cool.
Albeit some of them are mean.
So, yeah, a lot of them have been.
Haters gonna hate though. So,
Yeah,
you know.
haters are gonna hate. Some people, you know, are
But we appreciate
very, very angry. We do appreciate
all comments.
All comments. Like I said in my past videos, if you guys know, I'm still learning about the whole YouTube thing, but if you guys know video editing programs, things like that for our videos, to help us out, I am more than open to learning anything you guys can supply. I would highly appreciate it. Anything that'll make the videos better, etc., or more enjoyable to watch. So
Yeah, let us
like,
know.
subscribe, throw some comments down below, or private message me. All's good. So thank you guys for watching our videos. Don't see this movie.
Don't see it. And
All right, guys. Peace out.
Fire!